The Fellowship of the Ring, part of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, tonight on the Reedsters Lounge. Stay right here. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Reedsters Lounge. I'm Reedster. This is the Blondie.
Hello.
And tonight we're going to talk about Fellowship of the Rings from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Okay, so Fellowship of the Ring that launched the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I know I was looking forward to it. I have this personal fetish for the medieval times, and Middle Earth has not yet been introduced to me. So when that gem come out, I fell deeply in love with the whole genre thing. And
Well, I definitely loved the Shire. I thought the Shire was done excellently.
yeah, the opening scene with the Shire, depending on which version you watch, over the years there's been many.
I was just referring to the overall Shire. Like, the vastness they showed in the Fellowship of the Ring, many parts at the beginning of different parts of the Shire. They had the party tree, they had the whole cottages, the hobbit holes. I thought that was really cool. The bridges, the waterfalls.
And of all those things, the scene that I liked the most, going back to, and I have no idea why, was that big tree in the middle. At least it seemed like it was always in the middle. It was the big one, whatever the heck that was.
I think was that where the party was.
I don't know. All I know
If so,
is
that was the party tree.
When you're looking at the scenery, there's that big, I don't know what kind of tree it is, but it was an eye catcher of the scenery was that big tree. I don't know what it was about that, but I love that tree.
Yeah, I liked they had the celebration around the party tree, so I'm thinking that's the tree you're talking about, but I could be wrong. For me, I think it was overall the bridges. I really liked the bridges. How they had them, stoned and set up and all that. I thought that was really cool.
Okay, so what are we looking at here? We're looking at a king who fell victim to the power of the One Ring. And Elrond, lacking the conviction of drop kicking that bastard right over the edge, leads Gollum to possess this thing, hidden away in a mountain somewhere.
Misty.
For like 500 years. Something like that. Perilous times for the Gollum. That poor guy. Alright, so this story opens up with Bilbo in possession of the ring. And we get our first look at the Shire on the big screen. Pretty cool. Now, a question in hindsight that I would have about all this is Gandalf's knowledge of what Bilbo's not necessarily doing, but in general, what the deal is with that ring. Because in hindsight, we now know that in The Hobbit, he picks up on Bilbo owning a magical ring. He's just not calling him out on it. And he alludes that later on in the Fellowship of the Ring, that he knows that he is in possession of a magical ring. Now, I'm under the impression Gandalf just doesn't know what's so magical about it.
Well, I'd like to know why Gandalf never asked him about it, or never sensed that it was the one ring. I think, being a wizard and all, he should have sensed that right off the bat.
Anyway, so Frodo starts suspecting that something's going on. He just doesn't know what. And then that's when Bilbo during the party starts. You see a scene of him talking to the children.
About the trolls, yeah, Bilbo's trolls.
So that'd be our first inkling into the Hobbit movies that were yet to come.
Yeah.
Already based off the books that were written. Was there anything going on with the Shire at the beginning? Any one thing that like sort of stole your heart in the context of just the Shire stuff before we even get into the adventure? I'm not saying there is. There might not be for me either. Well, let me put it to you people. Wouldn't you have liked to have seen more than one Hobbit hole? Just saying.
Yes, actually.
Hey, let's go to Sam's house. Why do we always gotta ruin, the Bagginsons? Sam's house right down the street. Let's go. Party at Sam's house. Hey.
Well, they don't party at the houses. They party in the bar.
What happens in the Hobbit hole stays at the Hobbit hole. Okay, so the Wraiths were chasing down the Hobbits there back at the beginning with towards the Shire as they were making their way to the Prancing Pony. I mean, at the time we didn't know any better. All we knew about was the Wraiths and their horses. But how fortunate for the Hobbits that one of those Wraiths weren't on one of those flying things that we seen later on. I mean, though, how weird though would have been for them to be going across that raft and then out of the darkness you hear the screeching of that flying thing and they just literally get picked up and swept away.
Yeah, that would have been a quick trip to Mordor. What'd you think of the meeting in Rivendell then?
The secret meeting in Rivendell. There was when I first seen it, I didn't know who the standout main characters were going to be, so I'm trying to take in everybody, and I would like to think that of the people that were called to that meeting, who was going to be the important ones that's going to carry on the storyline, and who were in essence going to be the discarded characters. So I'm trying to pay attention to everybody, but then you quickly see who's getting all the screen time, and then who you're going to be paying attention to, and who will later become the Fellowship. Yeah. I loved it when Gimli tried to destroy it.
Oh yeah, and broke his axe into a zillion pieces. That was great. The look on his face.
I thought it might have been cool if everyone took a crack at it, and then finally Elrond would say, none of this is going to work.
Yeah, that would have that would have been funny. I liked it when Legolas stood up and told Boromir that who Aragorn was. That was really cool. I think whenever they left Rivendell, why did they not have any horses to ride out on? They got a long way to go to Moria. I thought, they're going to walk that whole distance and take one pack horse. Wouldn't have made common sense to take some horses, and then if they found themselves in a situation where the horses couldn't go any further, to send them back the way they did Bill the pack horse. I wouldn't want to walk that distance on foot.
Everybody in the Fellowship seeing this octopus-like thing creating rifts in the water. All right, not everybody, but definitely more than half of these people. I mean, the hobbits seen the wake in the water, Aragorn seen it, Boromir seen it, perhaps not Gandalf and Gimli, they were already inside. However, once they realized that there was trouble in Moria, Boromir still said, we should never have come here, we should make for the Gap of Rohan.
Yeah.
And he screams about getting out.
Yeah,
and all the while, there was a lingering horror waiting them in the water. They realized what was the wake in the water, and now they're getting attacked by an octopus monster.
Yeah. What I don't get though is that watcher held Frodo in the air for so long, and he never lost his necklace with the ring on it. But yet, when the mountain slopes, he stumbles, and boom, it just flies right off. But he's upside down for a while, and it magically stays on. I guess they wouldn't have been able to find it in the waters, huh?
I don't remember now if it was a documentary or a YouTube video covering little details that the movie doesn't get into. The fingers of these tentacles of that octopus had finger-like grips, and the tentacle that was responsible for holding Frodo up in the air was also frisking him for that ring.
Oh, really?
That thing was
See,
looking for the ring. My question is what would that of octopus had done with it had he got it?
Yeah. Yeah. What would have it?
A 1,000,000-ton octopus on the loose, invisible, can't see him.
That would have been scary.
Having a one-on-one with Sauron's eye.
That would have been scary.
How do you talk to an octopus? I don't know.
I really felt sad though when Gimli come across his kin. That how they were slaughtered, and yeah, he was all upset. That was a sad part of the movie.
How could he have not have known?
I don't know. He was looking forward to.
I know he was acting like he was acting like it should have been a big old dwarf party going on in there.
Yeah.
Very little mining going on, but that's what everyone says they're doing there, and he thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And then to be not that Moria was decimated, but they've been there a while. I mean, we seen bone.
Yeah, yeah, the skeletons.
So you think someone would have said, "Hey, I don't think we heard from anybody from Moria in say a long time." I don't know. But at the time, I was watching it theaters. It was I didn't even think like that. Most of the people probably didn't.
But yeah, that was sad. However, though, I thought the goblins were really cool looking, especially the eyes that were in Moria.
They almost look like quartz digital eyeballs.
Yeah, and that's the same as golems though, because they're in darkness. They got to be able to see after a while, but it was really cool looking how they did that. And the cave troll was scary.
I think we all mourned for the passing of the cave troll.
Yeah, but I thought it was hilarious how Boromir shuts the door and says, "They have a cave troll."
Right, the first opening act, and I guess the subsequent fight of the troll. It was how the troll finally met his end. I think we all in the end were like, "Aww."
Yeah.
Poor troll. It was just doing what it was told.
Yeah.
Troll haters.
I thought that Frodo was a goner, and because I forgot about the mithril that he was wearing. I thought he was a goner when this troll stabbed him. It's the first time I seen it. But Gandalf didn't seem surprised, really at all. No, Gimli did, but Gandalf didn't really seem surprised.
Well, it is true that the mithril was as hard as dragon scales, but so nothing could pierce it. Almost nothing can pierce it. But blunt force trauma is still just that. It's blunt force trauma, and unfortunately,
it should have let a bruise of some sort at least.
Well, physics, people. I mean, he was hit with a Triton head-speared longstaff, and obviously apparently the long point middle went into the wall.
Yeah.
And the shorter end piece went to the other side of Frodo's chest area, and gave us the illusion that he was pierced through the chest. But that still would have condensed his body, would have forced his body to squeeze in between the extended out pieces of the end of that staff.
So what are you saying? He should have been killed?
I don't want Frodo to die, but I think he would have broke some ribs. He wouldn't have walked away from that I'm okay. I'm all right.
He should have got some sort of injury, yeah. But it was awesome, though, for the movie that he didn't. After all, he's carrying the ring. He has to be the hero.
Gandalf was finally going to reveal just how powerful he is being a wizard. Were you really pleased with the way it was handled, or would you have liked to have seen more?
I was pleased, all except for the fact that he let his guard down way too quickly for a wizard.
Oh, at the end,
Yes,
where he got caught by the whip.
Yes, I thought he shouldn't have let his guard down that easily, because he's a powerful wizard. Any wizard, they'd be standing there waiting for their enemy to fall into ruin, you would think.
I really enjoyed how his light was protecting him from the fire. Although, at the time, I didn't understand where he was drawing his power from, or else I would have appreciated that part of the film even more at the time. I mean, I can appreciate it to its fullest now. But,
yeah, back then it just looked like his staff was doing it all. And his sword. He had up his sword, and then he had up his staff, and his staff had that little white light in it.
And it wasn't until later I learned that he had a ring of power of his own.
Yeah. But they don't really get into that.
No, they don't. So that's the force he was calling upon just before he got struck with that sword of fire, the sword of flame.
They don't get into the Belloc either, his enemy, that he was, determined to defeat.
But what I did get from the movie, without knowing little extended details, I still really liked how that aura of light protected him, and when he was struck with the flaming sword, how the bits of the sword was beating off of his protective light shield. That's how, growing up, I envisioned magic to work. And for someone whom I've never met to put that on in a movie, that just refortified me feeling a connection with this movie. It's like, wow, they get me, they understand me. Mm-hmm. It's like they've read my mind.
I really liked the structure of Moria too. They really did put a lot of detail into the whole cave, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, the detail helps keep you drawn in. That way you're not taken back by bad effects or something like that. The only thing that, to this day when I watch it, and we watch it often, is as anyone who has walked on the streets at night with a flashlight, the person who is in the back of that line, walker beware. I don't understand the concept of the person who holds the flashlights in the front, in this case why Gandalf is in the front with his light staff, because by the time the single file thing goes, by the time the person...
Gandalf's in the back.
Well, there's hardly nothing in the back but people's shadow effects from the light source in the front. Oh, yeah. And I'm surprised none of the hobbits walked off the edge of the cliff because they didn't see what was coming.
Yeah.
It isn't like they were grabbing hold of each other in single file and being super safe like they were, scaling Everest or something. These guys were just basically walking and just trying not to fall. And I'm thinking to myself how incredibly difficult it would have been to see.
It was also funny how Gandalf said to them, run, weapons are no use here. And somehow he ends up being at the front of the line. And Legolas, yelling at him, come on, Gandalf, I'll catch ya. He's supposed to be in behind. Everybody's supposed to go in front of him because he's the one with the power to stop this thing. And somehow he ends up at the front of the line being caught by Legolas. Well, everybody else is behind him. How is that possible? But that was pretty funny to me.
Respect your elders, people.
That was pretty funny to me. But moving on there, they get through Moria. Gandalf does his whole staff thing towards the end. And then they get into Lothlorien. And I think it was really funny how Gimli was saying about, the witch elf of Lothlorien
There's a mysterious witch who lives in these woods.
Yeah, the witch elf. And it was really funny how he's saying about how he's got eyes of a hawk and ears of a fox. And, and then they stick their arrows all at him.
Stay close, young hobbits.
That was funny. I thought his character shined at that moment.
Kind of makes me wonder, though, with the Lithorian elves there, obviously tracking the Fellowship, why put the arrows in their faces?
Yeah, especially seeing, with Aragorn and Legolas there, because Legolas, he's an elf of Mirkwood, and...
That's interesting. I mean, why whenever the Fellowship gets out of Moria and they find their way to Lithorian, they go in there, why did Legolas have to wait with the others for Aragorn to explain their position to see Galadriel? Legolas is like the prince of where he comes from. Everyone knows his dad, in the elf world anyway.
Right.
He's a big thing. That confuses me now. I mean, in hindsight, at the time I didn't know Legolas's true heritage in any way, other than he was really on Aragorn's side of point of views. It wasn't until later when The Hobbit came out and I actually got a chance to see Legolas's dad in control of his realm that I realized how powerful of an elf he is. And then after Saruman gives that one Uruk-hai the how the orcs first came to be speech, he ended it with saying, "Now perfected my fighting Uruk-hai." Ooh, I would have loved more of an explanation on that. Why? How did it go from orc to Uruk-hai? What was that all about? Are we saying that in this goopy stuff introduced to us in the movie with the Uruk-hai hatching out of it, this membrane of things, or was that Saruman saying that we threw an orc in there and then some other things, and then now we have a Uruk-hai? It's a perfected orc. What makes this Uruk-hai the perfected orc that they tried to make in the past? I'd like to know.
Yeah, I would like to know myself. I don't have a clue. So anyhow, I thought it was cool when Boromir come to the rescue of Frodo and Pippin and was up against all them orcs by himself, trying to get Legolas and Aragorn and Gimli's attention. And then he gets shot 3 times by that little Uruk-hai. That was really cool.
Perhaps the physics of Middle-earth somewhat are skewed from what we know today of physics, because during that
Uruk-hai. Was it orcs or Uruk-hai?
Uruk-hai.
The Uruk-hai battle.
Boromir was gallantly fighting off the onslaught, and Merry and Pippin were doing their very best. However, what the hobbits chose to attack with there towards the end of that particular battle were rocks that were on the ready, and how they were just simple rocks being thrown at the Uruk-hai. However, they might as well have been bullets, because they were knocking down those Uruk-hai like they had no armor on at all.
And that was Saruman's Uruk-hai, and they were pretty tough Uruk-hais. Boromir took on quite a few. In the end, he couldn't take on the arrows coming at a distance, but he did pretty well for himself. I also thought, after Boromir went down, it was really cool how the scene between the Uruk-hai and Aragorn. How he cuts that Uruk-hai's head off after he pulls him towards him with the knife in him. That was really cool. It was sad to see Merry and Pippin being taken away, though, overall. It was sad how Sam was chasing Frodo on the boat, and Frodo's telling him to go back, but then he sees Sam drowning, so he has to come and save him. That was sad. But I think Sam was pretty dedicated. He made Gandalf a promise, and by golly, he's going to keep it.
Okay, there's two parts to that I'd like to comment on. First comment is Sam, as well as the general viewing audience, ought to be thankful that he didn't pull a stunt like that a little later on. Because as we all seen as the story unfolded, the ring's influence over Frodo
Was taking hold.
was
more
very
and more.
taxing.
Yeah, more and more.
So let's just clip that out and put it more towards the end. Wouldn't it have been sad but funny? Sad, very sad, but funny. If we would have seen Sam going across that water drowning, and then Frodo just freaking out, half possessed by the ring, and just keeps on the trucking.
Anyhow, Frodo, I don't think could have made it all that way on his own by himself without the help of Sam.
Part two to my comment. I believe from everything that I've seen that not so much in the first one, Fellowship of the Ring, but as you watch the story unfold to its conclusion, I think it was pretty obvious that Sam had the ability to make that run for Frodo.
Yeah, I think Sam could have done it.
All right, everybody, we're going to wrap it up right here. So,
Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.
why don't you go ahead and click that there subscribe button, thumbs up, thumbs down, give a comment.
And we'll see you back here in the soon future, we hope.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.